One of the things hymns do is shut up the person at the front. It's a little bit of me time for the congregation. Oh yes, you're supposed to sing, but you can do that with 20% of your attention, and the rest of your brain can do as it pleases. It's important in a conversation that you both get a go. All of you, if there's more than two. It's very hard with some people who seem to have learnt how to breathe in mid-sentence when you wouldn't interrupt, because they're still about to make their important point. But when they do get to a full stop, they therefore have plenty of air to carry them straight on to the next thought, which might be something about, say, hymns and their purpose in worship, which is to give you a break from the person at the front. When the person across the table, or the other side of the gear stick, finally stops, and it seems like they're done for now, what happens? Silence for a moment. You might notice the sound of rain on the window pane, or the rumble of the wheels of the car. Your own thoughts might expand to fill the space that's been left. Something may rise to the surface in your attention. A story to share, a thought about tomorrow, some news about a friend. Maybe if the silence elongates, you will become aware of your feelings. Anxiety, hope, sadness, relief, a mixture. However you happen to be feeling right now. While your companions spoke, their words entered your thoughts and occupied your attention, but when they stop, your mind recovers its own shape, like a memory foam sofa when you stand up. There is a slow reshaping. It doesn't have to be a hymn. It could just be looking at a film of fish swimming, or listening to music or birdsong, or just sitting. It's not polite to dominate a conversation. It's rude to not give the congregation a break from your thoughts if you're up front. And the speaker, the worship leader, also needs a break. So Jesus, who has sent the 12, the apostles, just means those who are sent, who has sent the 12, the apostles, into the villages, as we're all sent sometimes, now says, come away with me to an empty or a deserted or a quiet place all by yourselves and rest for a while. Stop. Pause. There have been words, there has been a message, it has been shared, it has been spoken, expressed. Now the words should stop. Jesus, we know, is tidal. He goes to the villages, teaching, healing, then into the hills, alone for prayer. Then back to the marketplace, disputes and storytelling, and next the lakeside and walking by himself. But I don't think this is just about striking a balance or making sure there's variety. That would be corny and obvious. I think the ebb tide is always there. Even when Jesus is active, is going forward, there's always a sense of retreat about him. It's been said that Jesus always plays black, as in chess. In chess, white moves first and black responds. And that's how Jesus operates. He doesn't usually come up to people and start conversations, but they approach him. They call out to him. They even reach out to him. And he tends not to choose a subject. Somebody asks about something, and Jesus answers. Interesting, isn't it? We usually rate people who set the agenda, the playmakers, who steer the conversation, who seize the moment, who speak their minds, the forthright and the upfront. But Jesus typically waits. He lets somebody else set the agenda, open the topic. I think he might have walked all the way from Nazareth to Jerusalem in total silence if people hadn't accosted him and demanded to hear his opinion and asked to be healed. The stillness of the deserted place isn't an alternative to the bustle of the street, but he brings the stillness with him wherever he goes. Slipping calmly through the angry Sabbath crowd in Nazareth, answering the lawyer's combative question with a story, a shaggy Samaritan story, and before Pilate, practically mute, "Thou sayest." There is a stillness. He's not asleep, disconnected, absent-minded. He sees, he walks, he waits, but his words and his actions come not from his own will alone, but from his engagement with the will of others and his deep understanding of them. This is why he often answers questions indirectly. He answers a question the person didn't ask, but which is the important question. "Who is my neighbour?" asks the lawyer, and Jesus tells a story and then says, "Who chose to be neighbourly?" Different question. "Where can we buy food for 5,000 people?" the disciples demand. "How many loaves do you have?" Jesus asks. And what follows is not like the United Nations handing sacks of rice from the back of a truck with people clamouring and reaching out, but they sit in groups of 50 and 100 and are served, and the leftovers are collected, and it's as if a great calm has come over them. They sit on the green grass, we're told. You know, there are hardly any adjectives in Mark's Gospel. So green grass is a surprise. Why tell us the grass is green? Because it's spring? Not high summer when the grass might be pale straw coloured? No. He tells us it's green because of verse 34. Jesus saw the crowd and had compassion on them because they were sheep, like sheep without a shepherd. What sort of shepherd is the Lord? One who makes me lie down in green pastures, who leads me beside still waters, and Jesus will still the storm later in this chapter. The Lord is my shepherd, Psalm 23. God is my shepherd, and Jesus, Mark 6, is our shepherd. Jesus is Lord. One more adjective. Broken. They collect up the pieces, the broken pieces, Mark says. Of course they're broken. If they weren't broken, there'd be loaves of bread. They wouldn't be pieces. But he uses the word pieces. They're broken because the lordship of Jesus does not come from strength, but from brokenness, from silence. His words come from the hills. His teaching comes from listening. His healing out of compassion. And he wants us to be like him. This is how God is. This is how we are to be. Come away. It won't be for long. The great crowds will come hurrying. They will find us soon enough. The world rushes forwards. But when we can, we should pause, stop, listen, feel, uncurl, recover, rest, and then speak the simple but effective word of love.